How's it going? This has been not a long time coming, but I've been talking about it for a little bit. Um, there's been some comments on some of my videos about some of the gear I've been using, and I realized that it's been a couple years since I did a gear update. So this is going to be my 2026 gear update. This is less about look what I got and more about letting you know what I'm using, because the items that I choose to use are ones that have worked out for me. Your experience may vary, but these things, either I happened upon them and I absolutely love them, or I've gone through many iterations and got to the point where I'm using these and retired some other equipment. I'm not going to go through everything I own. This is more focused on grab and go kits, and then stuff that's in regular use on my videos. So something I've been pushing recently is the idea of a grab and go kit. So that is where I have a selection of kits. I can take it and I know that everything in there will see me through an activation. I have my battery, radio, antenna, writing utensil, writing material, all of that stuff. I can grab it, go to a park or summit, set up, activate, and I don't have to worry. This also allows me to not have to borrow from one kit to feed another. That's kind of a core principle with this grab and go idea, is that you never want to have to be like, oh, I need that pin out of the other, and then when you go and use that one, the pin isn't there. So the idea is, as I mentioned, grab it, go, get on the air. So this isn't really super scripted, pardon that, but I'm just going to kind of show you what I've been working with. So thanks for following along. Let's get to it. I have a couple things to go over. I think I will just start with my everyday carry, so my EDC. Yes, I do carry radios with me every day. In conjunction with that, it's more MCOM focused, so emergency communications focused. And so in pairing with that, I do have a PACE plan, primary, alternate, contingency, emergency, local maps, points of contacts, all that stuff. I'm not going to go over that right now, but just know with this kit comes some other stuff that makes it more usable for emergency scenarios. As you know, I work in emergency preparedness, so I kind of have to walk the walk if I'm teaching people this stuff. So this is my everyday carry radio kit that lives in my backpack. Yes, it's in a Faraday bag. I don't access it that much, and I hope I never have to, but it just makes sense to keep it in a Faraday bag. You know, you just never know what's going to happen. So it's also waterproof, and that is nice. So getting into here, I have, yes, bags within bags. You'll see a lot of that moving forward, but and you're also going to see some ideas clearly coming from other creators. They've done the research. I trust what they have come up with. I've adopted it to my own lifestyle, my own needs, and if I'm using it, I'm in agreement with them that this is good equipment and it will work for my needs, hopefully for yours as well. So let's start with the radio. This is actually a really nice bag I picked up at a local outdoors store, JL Waters here in Bloomington, Indiana. It's Cotopaxi, and I love it because it's rigid. It's, you know, it's still malleable, but it's a rigid bag. So in here, it kind of breaks down into these different compartments. So I'm just going to kind of show you what's in here. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments and I can expand on any of this. But this is just going to kind of be an overview of everything that's in these kits. So this is my throw line. This is arbor line, so it's a little bit waxed, so slick, slides through the trees a lot better. And then this golf ball idea was from one of our silent keys in the area. He had this in his stash, and I thought that's a fantastic idea. It doesn't quite have the weight of the throw bags, so it doesn't always want to slide all the way down. Sometimes you have to kind of make it happen, but so far it's been a great idea, and it's way less heavy, you know, than the throw bags that have the shot in them. So that's what I chose to carry. And I'm not going way high up into the tree. I just need to get the antenna off the ground. So this seems to serve my purposes really well. The winder is what came with my base antenna, the Chameleon Base 3. That's my permanent antenna setup. So the winder was up for grabs, and I decided to use it for this. In here I have, for the antenna, I just use a pack antenna. So 20 meter infed half wave with a 40 meter extension. Gives me all the bands I would need, especially for MCOM, where I would probably stick to 40. or set it up in an invis configuration. So this has been a great antenna. It's worked for everything I've needed it to. You've seen it on many of my videos at this point. And it's super lightweight. So that's the antenna I carry every day. I do have another one of these. This is just masonry line, so it's definitely not as good for sliding through trees and stuff. I have this more because it weighs nothing, and then if I need to tie up the feed point, so like the end of the antenna is up in the tree with this, but if I want to tie up the feed point or get the middle of it halfway up or something, it's just nice to have some extra string, and this weighs absolutely nothing. So that goes in there. I can't remember the nomenclature for this, but it's the super thin coax cable. It weighs very little. It works for my needs. Everything I'm doing here is QRP anyway, so it's worked really well. I want to say like RG356, but I don't know if that's right. But very thin coax. You'll see some other coax in another kit in a bit. We'll talk more about that one. So in this middle pocket here, which is kind of a zipper, that's where the antenna goes. This is all my connectors. So I'll just kind of bring them out here. I tend to have redundancies for this stuff as well. So I have the pull-out aux cable, so I can connect speakers, radio, paddle, all that kind of stuff. I do have another one that's not expandable like that, but it's super small. That's just backup I keep in there. This is my USB, so I have USB-C to USB-C and USB-C to USB-A. Just have both options. I can connect the radio up to my tablet or my phone, do FT8 or JSA call. Yeah, it's for whatever I need it for. This is the power cable that connects the battery to the radio, which you'll see in a moment, and then a set of headphones, because that's important to have. All right, let's go ahead and look at the radio itself. So the radio I choose to carry every day is the QRP Labs QMX. That's it, QRP Labs QMX. So this is the mid-band, so I think it's 20, I don't know, it does 40 and 20, up to 60 I think, one of those two. But this is the one that I preferred. QMX transceiver, love it. This will do single sideband, this will do CW and data modes, so it does everything. And with the cables I have here, I can do any mode with it. Toothed and cover, it's just nice to have this protected. And then I have one of the little caps to keep the antenna port nice and free of debris. So that's the radio I choose to carry every day. To power it, you've seen this before, it's just the Talent cell off Amazon. When I got it, this was only like $18, I think. And it works great. It's 12 volt out, pairs perfectly with the QMX. I can also charge other stuff off of it using the USB cables that I carry with me. Yeah, it's great. Pretty lightweight, and it just matches and fits the size of the QMX like perfectly. It's insane how like exact the same size they are. All right, I do have a CW key in here because that's one of my favorite modes now. This would be, I mean, it could be used in emergencies, but really, if I'm thinking MCOM, emergency communications, the priority is going to be data modes. So I'm going to be using JSA call, all these really highly efficient modes of communication that's keyboard to keyboard. And then probably single sideband, and then in a pinch, I can use CW. But I keep it in here because this isn't just MCOM focused. This is what I carry with me, and if I happen to be at a park or near a park or have some time on my hands and I want to get on the air, it's nice to have all the options. This is the POTA CW paddle. I think I just got off Amazon. It's my slappy one. It just has that noise, but yeah, it's good. And it's a magnetic base, so if I'm like in my truck, I can just set it and fits perfectly. I tend to hold my keys when I activate though, or when I'm keying, so I don't really use the magnetic base a whole lot, but it works pretty well. And I just keep it in this case to kind of protect it. But it's very, very robust, which is why I like it for my everyday carry. The only other things I have in here, I do have a little, POTA exchange and Morse code alphabet. I need that less and less. Actually, I haven't used it in at least the last 5 activations. I think I'm at the point where I don't quite need this anymore. But it's nice to remember some of the obscure punctuation that I don't use all the time. So I do keep it in here, and it weighs nothing. So. In this little pocket, I have a backup keyer. So this is the N6 ARA tiny paddle, I think it is, with the adapter to fit onto the side of the QMX. So this can go right on the side, plug this in, and then I have a backup key. So I wouldn't technically need to carry this, but if we're thinking MCOM and preparedness, I like to have redundancies in place. So this is my backup key. This would be the primary. And then I do have 2 microphones as well. My stepdad W9NVY made me this one, which is nice. It's got my call sign on it and the radio that it's designated for. And then I have this one, which I bought in the early days of the single sideband mod being released for the QMX. Somebody was willing to make these and sell them. I think it's based on Adam K6ARK's design. But yeah, so 2 microphones. They both work. I've used them both, and that's a good thing to have. That is it for this kit. So that is my radio setup and all the stuff, all the accoutrement that accompanies it. I'm not going to put every piece back in here, that'll take some time. And then it closes up like that. You'll also notice kind of all over all my gear, I have little S-beaners hanging off. Anywhere I can clip an extra one of those, I do. This just, you end up using them more than you'd think, so I like having extra all over the place. Alright, so that is my everyday carry radio kit. To accompany that, I do have, now you're going to notice some similarities here to Tech Prepper's stuff. I do follow his advice on some of this gear. It has worked for my needs, and I really like how robust it is and how reliable it is. So I do have the Panasonic FZ M1 Tough Pad. Good luck finding these. I had to go in on a lot, like on a lot sale to get them with a couple other people. I do keep the battery out because there's a phantom draw. But yeah, so that goes in, turn that on. This is running MCOM tools, which the Tech Prepper developed. I think it's R6, but R7's coming out this Thanksgiving from what I hear. I'm not going to go into this a whole lot. There's a ton of features. It's all offline, essentially. It's never seen the internet. It's entirely air-gapped. It doesn't require the internet to do any of its functionalities, and it has a lot of functionalities. So I'll leave that there, but this doesn't weigh much. It fits perfectly in this little case, and that's what I carry. There's just a little keyboard I have for it. And then in here, I guess technically I do have another radio that I carry, and that is just this software-defined radio, this SDR. So this is good, and it allows me to use a couple of the features on here, like aircraft tracking, a couple of other things, and that just plugs into the side. This adds USB slots to the pad because it only comes with one. Got GPS for FTA, JSA call. It just helps keep everything up to date and time. And then a USB cable. And then this is the antenna for the software-defined radio. Yeah, tons of functionality with this. I'm not going to go into it right now. If you want to learn more about this setup, go follow Tech Prepper and look at all the amazing work he's done and all the research. Highly recommend it if you're interested in emergency comms. Okay, so that is my Faraday bag MCOM setup. Take a drink here. So that's my practical carry every day, there when I need it, but also provides some fun, like doing POTA or SOTA. So now moving forward, I'm going to kind of transition from preparedness side to more hobby focus. So the rest of the stuff I have, not the rest, but a lot of the other stuff I have here would be with POTA or SOTA in mind. Due to my area, POTA is kind of my go-to, but I'm always willing to go do a summit. So let's move on to an oldie but goodie. Oldie because you've seen this many times on my videos, but I still use it. This is my, I guess still my go-to single sideband setup for doing POTA. It's just in this Swiss, I guess, bag I got from Target a long time ago. Nothing fancy. Here's more carabiners, as I mentioned. So in here, I have the Saiju G90 with the kitty cat sticker. This has just been a workhorse. I love this radio. I don't think I'll ever get rid of it. I bought it several years ago now, and it just does the work. I love it. To power this radio, I have a Bio-Inno. I think this is the 3 amp hour, but for my purposes where I'm not activating for 8 hours at a time, I'm usually activating, packing up, moving down trail, setting up again, activating more, kind of one-offs. This has worked great. I've never run out of power using this during an activation. To monitor the power, I do have one of these, I guess, ANKG power, ANKG power. Anyway, you plug it in and it monitors how much juice you're getting out of the battery and how much draw the radio is consuming. So I keep that in there. It's just to monitor it. This is by no means a lightweight setup. This is not focused for my backpacking or bike packing adventures because it's heavier. So this would probably be my car setup. I would hike it a little bit into the woods, probably if I'm not doing an overnight. I'm not afraid to bring it into the woods. It's just not something I would pair and with all my camping gear and hike for multiple days on end. I have lighter options now, so that's tend to be what I focus on. As far as powering it, I got my little cable here. I do have a other carabiner and throw line. It's just paracord. What I usually end up pairing with a setup like this is my Soda Beams Band Hopper 3. Now this gives me 20, 30, and 40 meters. I will pair it with my POTA 20 mast, which I don't have here. It was actually W9 and VOI was using it over in Iceland. He went over there for the eclipse and was activating, and so he borrowed the mast for that purpose. So I'll get that back, and that pairs with this setup here. I like to have this antenna. I like having a dipole, and this one has proven time and time again that it's just extremely reliable and efficient. So you'll see this again. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But I do have another homebrew from K9EI, that's a local ham, made a 20 meter infrared half wave. I just throw that in this bag, and that's kind of the antenna that lives with the kit. In the back here, more of that coax that you've seen before. Nothing fancy. It's a little bit longer because this setup isn't focused on lightweight. And then I do have an adapter for the coax into the radio, and then another one of those auxiliary cables. And that is to use another one of these POTA Gig. I guess actually technically this one is not. It's modeled after that, but it's TUMD, another Amazon find. A little bit heavier than the other, but another robust key that I can just throw in here and forget about. So with this setup, this will do digital, single sideband, and CW. If I'm talking MCOM as far as like a car station, the G90 would still be my go-to even over the QMX. QMX is on my person. This tends to live in my car because with a DigiRig, I can connect this up to the tablet, and MCOM Tools has the G90 set up as a plug-and-play radio. Same with the QMX, but the G90 can do a little bit more because you can do WinLink on this, and you can't with the QMX. You can just do FTA, JSA call. I might be wrong about FTA, but I know you can do JSA call with it, which is my primary focus for MCOM. But I can do WinLink with the G90. So DigiRig is added to this, and then this kind of lives in my car. And then I have the tablet with me. I can hook it up and do all sorts of fun stuff with that setup. So you've seen it. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here because this is kind of standard stuff. G90's been around a long time. Everyone's familiar with it. I have no regrets with this radio. It's been absolutely wonderful. All right, so that is my, we'll call it my car POTA setup, or car MCOM setup, because this is radio I would use in that situation. Moving forward, I'm going to save that one for last as far as these kits go. So let's talk about this one. So this is another clamshell case. It's super firm, everything in it's very well protected. And inside here, we have another radio kit. So I have a, let me pull it out. This is just a little 3D printed cover that I made for the SW3B. So this is a CW only 3-band radio, very similar to the Mountain Topper, but it's a little bit more robust, I guess. So for a couple reasons. One, they still make this. If this were to be damaged, I could replace it because they still make these radios, unlike the LCD Mountain Topper 3B or 4B or any of those. Once they're gone, they're kind of gone. So this is still made. It also has a range of power input or power received from 8 to 15 volts. So I can kind of use whatever battery with this and it'll take it, which is nice. The Mountain Topper is a little sensitive. You got to be kind of careful with that. So this is a great radio for that. If you saw in my video, I was skeptical about it a couple times just because I hadn't tested it here. And being out there and not getting anything back when you're calling, you're never sure, is it the antenna? Is the radio wrong? Did I do something incorrect? You never know. Oh, it is raining again. All right, awesome. Tons of rain lately. But anyway, this is proven now because up in Michigan, this saved the day. My Mountain Topper batteries ran out, it died, and I was able to finish the activation using this radio. So I'm going to be using this a lot more. I'm excited about it. I know they're very popular, and yeah, so expect to see it more moving forward. Inside this kit, I have the power source for the radio. Because this has such a wide receive, this is a battery I got a while back. This is just an RC car battery. I think it's a 3S, 11.1 volt RC car battery. It's worked great. I just cut it, put one of these little adapter things on, plug, put it in there, you're on the air. It is heavier, but it'll power this thing for days. The stuff that's in this kit isn't necessarily my favorite. It's just in here because I want it to be a grab-and-go kit. Now, I did need to add another thing, so this wasn't already in here. You're seeing me put it in now, but I do have another logbook that I'll put in here. I do like these ARRL logbooks, these mini ones. They work really well. I tend to like them more for single sideband, because I don't need to write things down as much. At my level of CW proficiency, I still like a blank sheet of paper because I can kind of write it out as I hear it. As I get better, I hope to not use any paper or just be able to write it down in one go and not have to get it letter by letter. But we'll get there. For now, this does the job, or just blank sheets of paper. So this will go in here. And then as far as the key goes, I think this is another Amazon find, just a very cheap little key. It's not my favorite, it's not super comfortable to use, but it weighs nothing and it's tiny. That is a magnet on the bottom, so kind of same, I can put it on my truck or whatever. But again, I tend to just hold them, so. Not my favorite, but it's an extra one I had, and it lives in this kit. Got writing utensils, a pen and pencil. Another one of these, which are just excellent to have. And then I have headphones. Now with this radio, and one you'll see in a minute, I do have this extra piece that I plug the headphones into, and then this is a volume control. Because a lot of these radios don't have volume control, or these super lightweight CW only radios. So it's nice to have an option to be able to turn down the volume on some of you guys rocking 100 watts on CW. I hear you, and I don't want my eardrums to bleed from it, so. Okay. Let's move on from this one. You'll be seeing this a lot more. I'm probably going to develop this kit. It's not the end product. I'd like to get a different key. I'd like to get maybe a different notebook for it, but maybe a lighter battery as well. But for now, it is a grab-and-go kit. One that everything in it is replaceable, so right now, if I were to go out on like a 7-day hike in the woods or something, or even multiple days, and there's any sort of risk of rain or wetness, this would be the kit that I would grab because it's lightweight and, more importantly, replaceable. They still make the QMX. I could get another one of those, but the wait is so long. But also, that's my everyday carry MCOM Focus. I don't really take that with me to go to parks a whole lot anymore. I have other options. So as of right now, that'd be what I would grab. But a kit that I have that I'm really proud of, really love, is probably my favorite kit in my possession right now, is this guy. So yes, I'm a fan of the Tom Bean bags. Thomas, K4SWL, recommended this handy little thing bag, and it is certainly a handy little thing. You would be surprised. You're putting stuff in like, no way this is gonna close, but it ends up closing and it has room to spare. It's just amazing. One thing I'm not super a fan of is that it's extremely flimsy. There's no like sturdiness to it, so whatever's in here isn't nearly as protected as what the Cotopaxi is. It is lighter though, and I feel like I can fit more than I can in here. But of the two, I don't know. I kind of like this one a little bit more for carrying around every day, which is why my EDC is in here and not in here. But this one works really well for this kit. You'll recognize this, more masonry line just on this simple winder here. It weighs nothing and it's an option, so I keep that in there. Inside here, I have, this is my mountain topper setup. So probably my favorite radio that I own, just because it's such a joy to use and it's so iconic, and I wanted one for such a long time, and then this one happened into my life, is my mountain topper LCD 3B. So we'll start with that. So you've seen this in my videos at this point, or you're very familiar with it. Mountain Topper 3B, so this is another Tufton product, just a magnetic cover that goes right on top, protects all the buttons, excellent to have. And there it is. Definitely an amazing radio, aesthetically pleasing, wonderful to hold, a joy to use, all the things. L&R Precision Mountain Topper LCD 3B. Got another protector here for debris out of the antenna port. Yeah, I'm not going to go into the functionality or anything of it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that show you all that. Plus, they probably know more than I do about how it actually works. I'm still learning. But it's a great radio. Because this one is more sensitive, both in terms of high SWR and in terms of how much power it can take, I have a couple of measures here to make sure that I'm not frying the finals on it. One is this wonderful product, again, by N6 ARA, is this mini SWR reader. So I plug this in and then put the antenna in, and I can see in real time exactly what my standing wave ratio is, and then if it's not 1:1, I change antennas or figure out what's going on to make it not that way. This one is built for 15 to 40 meters, which covers the 20, 30, and 40 that the mountain topper is built for. So, got that there. Another thing while we're talking about protections is I use these little 9-volt batteries. So this will power it. I have 2 of them in here. They are USB-C rechargeable, and I think they're 2S is what it ends up being, but little 9-volt batteries, and one of these will get me through several activations. And of course I have an extra for redundancy's sake, and they weigh very little. This will take up to 12 volts, but that's like the hard limit. I think in the instructions it says like up to 12.6, but I'm not gonna risk it. And because a fully charged RC car battery like this ends up pushing over 12 volts, I won't use this unless it's been about halfway spent, and then I'm more comfortable using it with that. But for safety's sake, I tend to stick with the 9-volt batteries. So those live right in there. That's the radio. You'll recognize this. This is ABR Industries coax. I can't remember the code. Let's see if I can see it on here. Yeah, I'm not sure. 174. Yeah, there it is. ABR 174. I really like this because it's extremely lightweight, super small, and it has chokes built right into the line. So for a radio that I'm very concerned about SWR, this is an excellent piece of coax to tie with this kit. So that lives in there, and I only use it with this radio. For the antenna, I've gone through a couple different options. I did have an L&R Precision trail-friendly antenna. It was built for this radio. It did 20, 30, 40 with a little SMA cap, which when you removed it, it would do 40. It broke on me. It was just up and then broke. You saw it in my video. You didn't see it happen, but you saw me lamenting about it. So it wasn't my favorite either. It was large. The line was extremely flimsy. So either way, it's gone. And now what I've decided to use with this radio, at least for now, I kind of have 2 approaches. The one that I carry with me is this Reliance antenna end-fed half-wave bug-out mini. So this is a 40-meter end-fed half-wave. And testing it on a analyzer, this is low SWR on 40 meters and on 20. So those are the bands I would stick with. I don't use a lot of 30 anyway. I'm hoping to change that, trying to get more active on that band. But for 40 and 20, this antenna works really well. You'll see plenty of little S-beaners and carabiners and stuff on here, because that's an important thing to have. Go ahead and Velcro this up while I'm at it. I had to pack up in the rain the other day. All right, so that's the antenna I choose to use. As far as power, I just made this little adapter that goes from 9 volt to the radio. Plug it straight in. I do also have a option to plug in Anderson. So if there's another battery or these run out, I hope to eventually get a BioNO 9 volt battery to pair with this. It'll be a little bit heavier, but it'll run for days and days and days. And then this cable will work for that. This will also plug into the RC car battery if it's drained a little bit. All right, moving on to this other pocket, I have headphones. Because this doesn't have a speaker on it. So you need headphones or you need a speaker. So this I tend to keep in there too. You've seen these, they're all over the ham tubes. Just a very cheap little speaker, does the job. When I'm filming, I tend to use that so you can actually hear what's going on. I don't have mics yet or any way to record the audio that would be coming through the headphones. If it's really hard to hear the signal, I tend to just switch to this and then edit that part out. So I'm hoping to change that in the future. I need to talk to you, some of you guys, and figure out how you're getting audio and also using headphones at the same time. If you got any tips, leave it in the comments. You recognize this, another aux cable that rewinds itself. It's good to have for backups if I need to put in the speaker, even though it has its own cable. Just for whatever reason, you might need this. As far as the key, so this is another treasure, but this is a Gemini. It's a treasure as he drops it on the table. So made in Japan, 2015, CQ ham radio Gemini. I really like this because it's a little bit heavy, but it's also compact. You unscrew this and then it slides out, and then I have little keys. And this is extremely sensitive, but it works really well. It's probably top 3 favorite keys that I've used. You'll see another one in a minute, and then my bench key I just absolutely adore. But for portable use, out of all the other ones that I keep in my kits, this is my favorite. This is also a kit that I wouldn't take into the rain, which is why this one lives with a radio that I wouldn't take in the rain either, and they all live in here. Another thing I'm not a huge fan of is that the cable is just a part of it. I really wish there was just aux plug-in. I might be able to figure out a way to retrofit that, maybe talk to some of you more capable guys about doing that, but for now, it's worked really well, and I just try to be gentle with it, which is why I don't take it into the rain. Yes, 5 minutes ago I did say I packed this kit up in the rain the other day, but it started raining and I packed up. I didn't knowingly take it into the rain. All right, so that lives there. A couple writing utensils, nothing fancy. And then down in here, that's right, there's more in this kit. Another one of those CW alphabet cards. I do keep some of my stickers. So backpacking bookie, and some of my cards from my YouTube channel, which you're already aware of because you're watching me right now. Keep those in here to hand out to people, and then just a Write in the Rain notebook for logging purposes. This is more of a backup because I tend to have other logging options with me, which we'll talk about in a moment. But it's always good to have redundancies in place and just know that there's a pad in there that I can use without having to take anything else. Okay, and so you'll see like the stuff is kind of just starting to stack up here. And you're like, how's this all gonna fit? Then you close it and it just does, and there's still room to spare, and it's comfortable, nothing's extremely tight. This is just a fantastic little bag. I really do like it. I'm a fan of Tom Bean anyway. I carry one of their backpacks as my daily carry backpack. And it's got a little handy carrying case, or handle here, so excellent. All right, so that's I'm gonna just say it's my favorite kit. I've wanted a mountain topper for so long, and when this one came into my life, I'm just so ecstatic, and the kit that I've built around it, I'm really proud of. Yeah, I mean, clearly there's inspiration from other hams out there, but yeah, it just works really well. Okay, so that antenna in that kit for my mountain topper does 20 and 40. So you just saw this earlier. I'm bringing it back out because this is something I will take with this kit as well. Because the Sodabeams Bandhopper 3 is built for 20, 30, and 40 meters. The mountain topper from LNR Precisions is also a 20, 30, and 40 meter antenna, or radio. So these things pair perfectly. The mast that I carry, the POTA 20, will work with this perfectly, and I can also just use the throw line and then bring the center point up and bring it out like that. So extremely versatile. You've seen videos, or if not, look back in the history about me setting these up and fully reviewing them. I'm not going to do it right now, but basically it's 3 lines. 2 of the guy lines are the antenna. The third is just to stabilize the mast. So it's a built, self-sufficient, all-in-one kit for 20 and 30, 40 meters. All right, moving on. While we're talking about kits, this isn't really a kit, but this is a new piece of kit, I guess, that I added to my collection. You've seen it in my videos at this point, but this is my chair. If I'm doing a multi-day, long backpacking trip, I'm not bringing this. I'll still bring the foam pad. I'll sit on the ground. It'll be fine. But for shorter trips or bike packing, this is great to have, or even just car POTA. It's lightweight. It fits in my backpack really well, or in the panniers on my bicycle, or in the saddlebags on my motorcycle. Extremely versatile. This is Grand Trunk, all-in-one, ready-to-go chair. Just wanted to mention that because you've seen it in my videos, and I really am happy with this. It weighs, I think, less than 2 pounds, so it's not very heavy. But yeah, the Grand Trunk camp chair. So a couple of you commented on my videos specifically asking about this item. For those of you who are pilots, you'll be very familiar with these, or perhaps you've used these before in your ham radio journey. So nothing groundbreaking or new here from any of you, but if you're not aware, these Flyboys leg desks, I guess, leg strap desks, are really, really helpful. So it comes apart, it folds up into a flat piece, right, and it doesn't weigh hardly anything. It comes apart, and then this wraps around your leg, right? Bring it over like that, and then you have a desk to work on. Now it's got places for binder cards. You could put your band plan on here, or your local repeater references, whatever you would want to do, your points of contact, anything can go on there. And then inside is a little clipboard. I do keep a band plan in here as well, just on the back, kind of tucked in, because it's nice to have a refresher every now and then. I'm still a general, so I got to make sure I'm operating within my area, because I know you guys will call me out if I'm not. So this hangs down, and it's got a couple other pouches, place for pens, all of that. I tend to just keep a very cheap little pad of paper, boom, and now I'm writing everything out. I have used it with my ARRL log, that works too. Or you could entirely forego logging purposes at all, and then set it up and put your paddle on here. Now, whichever hand you operate from, you could strap that paddle right in, and it's not going anywhere. You can add or retrofit this to do other stuff, or to have an actual magnetic base to mount the paddle onto, or whatever you want to do. The options are kind of endless. But it's really nice to have that kind of just on your leg and have a stable area to write on or to operate from. It's really great. For birthday, I think last year, maybe the year prior, I got W9NBY, one of these, and then got myself one as well. His is blue because he's a Navy guy. I went with green since I'm Army, and we've used them quite a bit. Straps there, boom, ready to go. I don't take this on every activation. If I'm backpacking, I'm not carrying this extra weight. It's not much, but every ounce counts. So yeah, but all other purposes, bikepacking or motorcycle POTA, car POTA, anything like that, I tend to bring this along with me now. Yeah, because this, and these two, not a whole lot of weight here. It's enough, but not a whole lot. And this makes for a very comfortable excursion into the outdoors to do ham radio. So I think the beauty with all of this is the fact that there are options. So you kind of just have to assess your needs at the time. What are your goals for that activation? And then choose the gear that works best for you for those purposes. My MCOM stuff, so for my EDC, my everyday carry, is focused around versatility. So I have the most options and the lightest weight setup. So that's the focus there. There's not a lot of comfort involved in that though. So if I'm going out for fun to do Parks on the Air or a CW event or anything like that, it's nice to have things to choose from that are more focused on that goal. Moving on, let's go back to EDC a little bit because I didn't mention any HTs, and I do carry HTs with me every day. So the one I've gone towards because of how robust it is the Yaesu VX6. So they do still make this. It's an old radio, but it's waterproof. I can't remember how, what the actual IP rating or whatever it is, but it is submersible. You can actually go underwater with this radio and it will still operate. I do keep one of the bayonet connectors on here so I can swap out antennas. This is just the rubber ducky one I keep on there, and then I can put a longer one or connect it to a long wire, which I have one of those cut for it as well. Not going to go into that today. And then I do have a screw-in hand mic. So this will actually screw into the port here, and then I can, it's also submersible. So yeah, so that's this is already programmed with all the local repeaters on it, all of my PACE plan, primary, alternate, contingency, emergency, all those frequencies are preloaded on here. This is ready to go, and it matches those who are in my band plan. So those who I want to communicate with during an emergency have the same setup. All right, I do want to mention that I did pick up one of the Baofeng Minis, and I love it. If I'm going out backpacking and it's going to be soggy, this is the radio I'll choose. Even though this is submersible, it's perfectly fine. This is a little bit lighter. It's also like $18, I think, still. These just are nothing. So if I'm going to have a throwaway radio, I'd rather it be something that's a lot cheaper. And they're just great. Yeah, no complaints about this radio. Baofeng Mini, yeah, they're clean in my book. So there's that. All right, two other items I'm going to mention. They're not really kits, but they're honorable mentions. First is this. So I do want to, you've seen it in the video at this point, but this is another thing that I can grab and go. So it doesn't fit very well into a kit, mainly because I want to protect it, but this is one of the Bama keys. So this is a Type 2. I'd really like the Type 3 someday, but I have used this many times and it's an absolute pleasure to use. It's extremely sensitive, but very crisp, very, very lovely key to use. Biggest complaint is that, again, this cable is attached to it. I'd rather just have an auxiliary to plug into rather than having this pigtail hanging off all the time. But yeah, this is just a little 3D printed case that my friend made for me. It lives in there. If I'm going car POTA or I'm just going out for a little bit, I'll take this because it's a fun key to use. But I definitely wouldn't, one, it's not a light key. It's fairly heavy. Two, it's unobtainium. You can't find them anymore because the manufacturer had passed. So I'm not going to risk getting this thing damaged. And three, it doesn't really fit in anything else. So if I'm just going out for a little bit, I'll grab this, go have fun with it, but it's definitely not one that I would carry with me every day or even include in a kit on its own because I just want to protect it a little bit more than that. I just use a strap to keep it all together. Yeah, nice piece of kit though. Really, really fun key to use. The last thing I'm going to mention, just because it's fun, it's not ham radio related, but it's another item that I do carry with me every day. I mean, I have tons more stuff in my backpack that I carry with me every day. That's a whole different video. This is more about grab and go kits. But there's one more item I'll mention, and that is this thing. So So I'm into film photography as well, and I do have some really nice cameras. But like this is a extremely lightweight, medium format, so 120 film camera. It weighs almost nothing. I think it's classified as like toy camera. They're extremely cheap, but the images it creates are really fun. You never know what you're gonna get. Oftentimes they're not really salvageable, but there's some gems that come through, and I just really like having a camera with me all the time that I can whip out and take some cool pictures if something inspires me. I'll kind of hold it up here, but you can see how much tape I have to put all over it because it's known for light leaks. So as the film advances to one side, it'll push out the plastic cover and let light in. There's some charm to that, but I tend to mitigate it by adding tape. There are still some light leaks that occur, and those are still charming, but I've gotten rid of most of them here. But yeah, it's just a viewfinder, so you have no idea what the image is actually going to look like. You can't see through the lens, and it's only got a couple settings like mountain and person, and then family and large family. So you just really never know where focus is going to be or anything like that, but I really enjoy these. There's a whole week, an annual event globally where you send in pictures that you've taken, and then there's awards and all that kind of stuff. I'll try to superimpose some images onto this video, maybe here, maybe at the end, of some images that I've taken with this camera, just so you can see. I really like it. I'm sure many of you grew up in an age where film was common, and I took film classes in high school and stuff, but it's kind of not as prominent anymore, but I still think it's very much a valid form of photography. And then this is just a little carrying case to carry different rolls of 120 film. So ready to put those in there. I got a black and white and a color that I can throw in. So yeah, just wanted to mention that because that is with all my stuff. I saw it sitting there when I was grabbing the rest of the stuff and figured I'd go ahead and let you know about it. All right, that was a lot of information. That was a lot of me talking at you. Please, if you have any questions about any of this stuff, leave it in the comments or feel free to shoot me an email. My email is on my QRZ page, which you already know how to find. And yeah, feel free to ask me any questions. I'm happy to expand on any of this stuff. If you want a video about my true everyday carry stuff, I'm happy to do that. I'm not going to go into all of my MCOM stuff because some of that is sensitive information. I'm not just going to share that online. But the methodology behind it and the goals of it, I'm happy to share. But that's like a whole nother video. I hope you enjoyed. I know this has been requested, and yeah, I hope it's useful. Please let me know, like, subscribe, do all that great stuff. I appreciate you following along, and I'll see you at the end trail.